If you stop to think about all that goes into getting from one end of the state to the other, or even from your house to the store, counties may not be the first thing that comes to mind. And yet, counties are the heart of the state's transportation network. In fact, nearly 60% of roadways in the state and 45% of our bridges are built, planned, repaired, and maintained by counties. And yet the funding for those roads is nearing a crisis point. Without intervention, critical infrastructure could begin crumbling, leading to even costlier repairs and replacement that grinds our state's people and our economy to a halt. How did funding for county roadways get off track? And what can be done to correct course? Counties have always received a share of transportation funding from state and federal governments. Those amounts were fairly stable until the late 1990s. That's when the state began to pass gas taxes for specific projects. You might remember the nickel funding package that added 5 cents to every gallon. But as the state began raising taxes for specific projects, counties' share of gas taxes began to drop. At the high point, counties received nearly 25% of gas taxes. It has hovered around half that in recent years. This decades-long trend poses a growing risk to county budgets and communities. Compared to 3 decades ago, counties now receive close to $500 million less per 2-year budget cycle when adjusted for inflation. As county transportation budgets have shrunk, it's become more difficult to maintain roadways. And roads and bridges need regular maintenance. On top of that, some much-needed roadway improvements are now required. For example, fish passageways and improvements for people with disabilities. And those add to the cost of building and maintaining roads. Not to mention costs for gravel, fuel, and construction have increased, meaning the county's budget doesn't go as far as it used to. The good news is, there are common-sense solutions that can correct course and put roadway funding on a sustainable path for the future. One idea is to correct course by funding transportation proportionally. In other words, if a new gas tax, road use charge, or tax on carbon is passed in Washington, about half would be allocated to counties, since counties maintain more than half of roadways. This method would be fair and doesn't reduce state spending on current projects. We could also advocate for more funding through existing state programs. These programs, known as RAP and CAP, help fund roads in areas where there are more highway miles than taxpayers. Another option is to implement a federal fund swap. It sounds complicated, but it's fairly simple. The state would keep more money from the federal government for its transportation projects, and a lot more of the state budget to counties. This method is used by other states to allow more flexibility for state and county governments and maximize transportation budgets. County transportation funding is at a critical point. If we don't act, counties will run out of funding to properly maintain roads and will face a crisis. If we work together, we can fix the problem and continue to have a well-maintained network of roads that will keep our state moving. But time is running out.